Well, it's 7 p.m. I'd like to call to order the Port of Siuslaw Commission for Wednesday, April 25th, 2018. All commissioners are present with Dave Huntington acting as interim manager. Approval of the agenda. Any items?
So moved.
Any items anybody wishes to get? Next, we have a presentation, a Rocky Neal presentation.
That would be Rocky
That'd be
right
Rocky
there.
right here.
Okay,
I'm on time.
perfect. Step on up here
Come on
and
up,
introduce
then.
yourself if you like.
Oh, I go to the, oh, nice, thank you. So, name's Rocky Neal. I got old Whitey, that boat out there on G-Dock that I keep out there. And I do a little work for well, I've done some work on F-Dock, things like that. But I met this lady, and she's all, one of those people that does the, what do you call them?
Airbnb.
Yes, that thing. And so she got me all hyped on it. And she was supposed to be here, but I just came from Eugene, but I didn't see her. So anyway, so that's what she wants to do. And I said, well, I got to find out if we can do that. I don't know. I mean, doesn't matter to me one way or the other. But she's one of those people that says, well, you know, you got a boat. It would be a groovy thing to advertise. You know, you could spend the night on a boat, and you know, I think it's mostly just one night type thing. I don't think it's like, you know, they do it all the time. I don't know anything about it. So really, I think her whole thing was just ask and see if we can do bed and breakfast or whatever that thing is. Bed and boat is
Air-
what they call it.
Airbnb.
Yeah, Airbnb on a boat. If I keep it at the marina.
I guess my opinion right now is to refer to the manager. Have you had a chance to look into the ordinance?
No, we informed Rocky to come and talk to the commission first and get your guys' take on it before we talked any more about it.
Because of the ordinance that says there is no subleasing, is that considered subleasing if it was just somebody that comes once in a while and stays once in a while? Is that considered subleasing? Because there is an ordinance that you cannot sublease.
Might have to get an opinion on that.
Or we could change language. You ready for some comments?
I am. I'll welcome your comments.
I think done correctly, it's an excellent idea. I think if you're going to, as they like to say, bring back the boats, you've got to have an incentive to put nice boats out there. And I know, I've researched this a little bit. I know in Upper Maine, Bar Harbor and areas like that, they call it a bed and boat. And typically the way they handle it, they say, this boat is not going to leave the dock. And what you're essentially renting, and they generally have a minimum of 2-night stay, is that you are renting a bed on this boat. And again, the boat is not to leave the dock. So it's an awful lot like, as you mentioned, Airbnb, where somebody rents a bedroom or somebody rents an entire house. And so I think if we put some structure to it, make sure that our ordinances allow it, and you have language about parties and no fraternity groups and things like that, just like you would on a vacation rental.
Sure.
I have a vacation rental that I own, my wife and I own out in Caldera Springs. We've operated for now 3 years, and it's been very successful, and the neighbors like it. But we have some very, very strict rules. Those communities, because this is good, this is a community out here on the water. Those communities that don't have strict rules, the neighbors get up in arms because there'll be loud music, there'll be parties late into the night,
Sure.
and it'll be disruptive to the neighbors. So I'll restate, my personal opinion is I think it could be an excellent opportunity, but I think it has to have the right structure to it. think there's a second question is, does the city have any say in terms of what we do in this particular regard? Other than that, I have no comments.
I'd go on record of being very supportive as well. I'd like to make sure staff, the manager and the staff researches and covers our bases. And if we need to look at some changes to accommodate you, it's my opinion that we should be able to do so. I can't speak for the other 4 people here. One of my concerns is, does it fall under commercial moorage or sport?
I think we'd have to look at our language, and we would have to look at the impact on our electrical supply, our water supply, and maybe have another category for a person that's declaring it for that use, Mr. Chairman. That's what, so I think this is a work in progress, and we have to flesh it out if in fact the commission agrees we need to consider it.
Do we have a limit on sanitary sewer hookups on our dock?
Right now, we have two that are operational. We have a third that's not operational, and I think that must have been Bob Forsythe that put that in for that big metal sailboat that was
And never
planned.
was hooked up.
And that was the plan with that boat, was to do a bed and breakfast type thing like that. But yeah, there would definitely be a sewer issue also.
And David, you and I were looking at some, at the suppliers down at this conference we went to. And one of the things we looked at was what amounted to a self-propelled sewer cart that we could actually run on our docks. And it would be on a call basis and a charge basis to empty the holding tank, but with an arrangement like that, we would not, the person operating the boat would not have to move it during those rough weather times. We essentially would service it right on the dock, and then you'd take that cart down, and you would, if we have the capacity.
You would pump it out with one of our pump out stations. Right now
Exactly.
we have.
So, and they have those devices available, but again, I think we need to look at all the correct components so that we do it right, because I think if you do it wrong, it gets a bad reputation and we've lost our opportunity, so.
Well, I think we'd have to determine that the vessel could accommodate so many people. If it doesn't have the sewage capacity, that's what you need to base it on, the bedrooms and whatever, but
Yeah.
I think it's something. Nancy, would you like to weigh in?
I have no problem with it. Will the port be gaining anything other than nice publicity, maybe?
No, I don't think we will be, but I think it's something that we could offer, and like Commissioner Meyer said, I mean, we want to attract boats here, it's a way to attract boats.
Yeah.
It's a way
Correct.
to attract people, good
Yeah.
people.
But Nancy, and again, that's something we have to develop. I think that we can consider somebody that declares their boat as being an Airbnb type boat. That's gonna produce more traffic, and so there might be a different moorage rate for that category of vessel. So in that case, there could be some possibility of additional revenue generated. Just thinking out loud.
Well, plus the live aboard fees,
Yeah. Yep.
and it's my opinion right now, our live aboard fees are pretty minimal. They barely cover what the electricity usage is, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
this,
different.
this is my concern, is that the port doesn't subsidize it.
Absolutely. In fact, it should be a profit center, Nancy. That's
I
what.
mean, it doesn't have to be a lot, but it just enough.
Is there, I'd like to ask the manager, is there any way that we can look into monitoring the usage of, say, that vessel's electricity by putting a meter on it?
Right now, we don't have that in place, but I'm sure it's something I can check on. So, yeah.
mean,
I just wanted to get your guys' feedback on this, and then I'll go to work checking on this. And
I think they have plug-in watt meters, Commissioner, that you plug it into the main outlet and then you plug your cord into that, and it actually has a digital reading and records the watt hours, and we would read it.
You see our concern there, though?
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, if you got 4 or 6 people staying there, the electricity usage is gonna be 4 times a single boat. or-
exactly.
so. But, Mike, do you have something?
No, I could support it based on what our port manager brings to us and how we put it together. It sounds like a doable, it sounds doable, but you guys have talked about everything that we need to look at. We just have to have something brought up so we can start talking about how we're gonna regulate it.
Fleshing it out.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like a doable plan.
I guess my direction to you would be to work with the manager and staff and come up with a plan. And then Dave can present it back to us.
Anything I can do to help, you bet. I'll research and, get all the, all the logistics behind it, because I know other harbors are doing it.
Yes, they are.
But I don't know, like what you were saying, I don't know what all the parameters are on that. I don't know how they're doing it. Is it more? And again, how are you gonna regulate the cost that it costs the port for like electricity? And there's gotta be rules, like you say, they can't be out there making noise. There's a new boat right next to me now. So I know, they gotta, there has to be stringent rules.
It has to be quiet.
And it has to be quiet, and there also has to be a limit on, obviously the size of the boat can only handle 2 people.
Well, the way the vacation rentals handle it, like on our place, Deschutes County actually, on a land-based vacation rental, they allow 2 people per bedroom, and you cannot advertise or lease it.
Exactly.
So we could do the same thing on a boat, depending on the size. We put a criteria in terms of how many beds you offer at night. So, but
Exactly.
I just think it's a work in progress. We just
Right.
have to work out the details.
Another thing you might look at is room tax. I don't know if we're exempt. My
No,
opinion,
you'd have to charge. You'd have to pay
That's-
room tax. I'm sure we would.
I bet so.
But you charge that. Pardon me. The one. No, I take it back, Commissioner. I stand corrected. We as a port do not pay room tax, but I pay a room tax on my place, and I pay it directly to the state, and I pay it directly to the Deschutes, and I'm accountable for the bookkeeping on that. The area I live in, which would be in this case the port, is not responsible for paying that tax. But we would be remiss if we didn't make sure our operators were operating correctly and paying the tax.
that's what I was saying, make sure that, in my opinion, I think we're exempt from it, being on the water.
Well, that's interesting.
Honeyman business.
That's a good question.
Yeah, the waters of the state are a little bit different.
Are they? Okay.
It's a little bit different situation. So,
Well, that's what they'll have to
when
find
someone
out.
comes to your
Yeah.
boat, they have to ask for permission to get on your boat, because that's your property. So,
That would sure give an air.
anyway, it's something to look into. That's all we're trying to do.
Right.
Cover all our bases here, and I think go right ahead on it, Rocky. Sounds like a great idea.
I think you got
Wow.
unanimous support for fleshing it out.
Fleshing it out.
Kelly, you had a point. Did you want to make a point?
I was just gonna say, we pay lodging tax for the campground, not the marina.
And we don't pay it for the marina.
We do not pay for the marina, we pay only for the campground.
Yeah, but is a live aboard the same criteria? It sounds like it is. So Terry might be right. I'm liable to have to give it to the president here of the commission. So
We can still check it out, but I'm
We need
thinking
to
that's
look
what
at
it
that.
goes.
that's interesting, Terry. Okay.
I think we seriously need to check out that portable pump station.
Yes.
that we were talking about, because we're locked in the wintertime as far as boats getting out with the boom logs there just to go pump out.
Well, as you and I talked when we had the opportunity, the more convenient and the easier it is for people to take care of the issues like waste, the more attractive our moorage is going to be, and the more successful these individuals are going to be using it. So,
Real good. Thank you.
hey,
Thank
thanks
you.
for showing up. That was great.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Rocky.
All right.
Anytime you wanna come in, I'll be there, so.
so.
I'll come in whenever you say. I'll call tomorrow. Thank you.
This is time for public comment.
There's nobody signed up.
Megan,
Nobody?
please. Go to approval of minutes by consent. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes?
No corrections or additions?
Any corrections? Everybody, okay?
I have none.
Fine.
We'll approve them by consent. And then we'll have Kelly give us a presentation on the financials before we approve them.
Just a couple things. The bills paid in March were $133,948.76. And that's pretty high again this month, and a lot of that was Mo's repair, low-fee construction, $46,294.32. So that's why that's so high.
Is he completed?
For what he was doing, he's completed. Yeah, we still have other Mo's repairs, but yeah.
Yeah.
So last month's occupancy report, as I was looking at it this month, it just didn't look right and it was incorrect. So last month I said campground was up 3%. It actually was up 7% last month. There was a formulation error wrong in the Excel sheet. So it was up 7% last month over the previous year for February, and then the mortgage stayed the same and was not up 1% when I said it was. But for March, the campground occupancy is up 8% over last year, and the mortgage has stayed the same as last year, as far as the percentage. And the only other thing was when I sent to you like the visa statements to you guys' emails, you will see that there was late fees and interest charges on those statements. And I also sent you letters from the visa company that they will be reversing those. They applied our payments to a closed account instead of the right account. So they charged us fees. We got a hold of them. They sent us a letter saying they're fixing those. We got the statement yesterday. They have reversed the fees. They're all taken care of. So if you see that and are wondering why, that's what happened.
Okay. Mike, you have any questions?
Yeah, I was curious about a couple of things. Can you define what compensated absences are?
So that's what, when Dina left, she had accrued vacation and she also had some accrued comp time. And you don't get paid your accrued sick time when you leave, but you do get your vacation and you do get your comp time.
So we have a policy on comp time then?
Mm-hmm. And comp time, if you earn comp time, like I would earn comp time tonight, say the meeting went an hour, I earn an hour comp time, which is at 1.5.
How do we track that?
It's on the time cards.
Every pay period.
You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tell me about retirement. We're almost $3,000 over budget. I don't know anything about a retirement plan. How does that work?
The retirement, so the amount that you're seeing is every year the port contributes to the people that are having their retirement taken out, which is Dina, Jason, me, and Tracy. And the port does a certain percentage, I can't remember what that percentage is right now,
Okay.
but they contribute a certain percentage once a year to that retirement.
Okay, so that would be, would you make that, whatever it is, policy or guideline available to me?
Yeah.
In an email, please?
This is the
Because
PERS
that-
contribution, right?
No, we don't have PERS.
Not PERS,
There
it's just a
isn't.
retirement
We have
contribution.
some sort of retirement plan, which I'd like to know what it is. Also, because when we budget for it, we should know. Makes no difference, we should know that number.
I believe it's like,
That's okay. but
yeah, I
just
think
if
it's
you-
like 3% of the W-2 total.
Okay, I'd just like you, if you don't mind, if you'd send that to me, because I want to see what kind of plan it is.
Okay.
Okay, and then the only other thing I want to point out is that,
What lines you looking at, Mike?
Well, I'm looking
Your-
back at
Your
the
eyes
top.
are too good on reading these spreadsheets, so.
no,
That was
there,
page 3, $52.70.
Okay.
And the
all
only
right,
other,
I see it.
the only other thing I want to point out is that under materials and services, we've got almost $90,000 left to spend in 3 months. Okay? I'd like us not to make the mistake again of overspending a category and then coming back and asking for a resolution to push money there, either stay within that budget or tell us way ahead of time. And that's not directed at you, it's just directed at the process. Because the last time we spent and didn't ask for forgiveness, so to speak. So I just think that we need to monitor. We got a budget, let's try to stay within it. We've got $90,000 left before we're overexpended. And we're averaging more than $30,000 a month, but there's reasons for that in prior months. So we need to kind of keep an eye on that.
Right.
Okay, so that we don't get, when we get audited this year, that we don't get a letter from the department asking us why we violated the statute.
And that would be till June.
June 30th, yeah. So we've got 3 months. We've got $89,746 left in materials and services. And if you look at the past months, the lowest month was $23,000.
What line, Mike, are we looking at?
Well, that's page 4 or 5. It's
Page
5,300.
4 or 5.
5,300. It's a
50,
total down below under the 5950 category.
4 or 5. Okay, 53. Okay, I see a 5,300, oh,
Yeah, it's a total number, Bill.
okay, I see it, okay, all right.
Yeah, it's all it is it's just a comment so that we stay within the limits, within our rules.
Okay, so you're looking at that year-to-date, 389,000
Right.
and change.
And we've got 89.7 left,
I
and we've
gotcha.
got 3 months to spend that.
I
And if you
gotcha.
look at the months behind us,
Excellent
it's-
point.
It could happen quite easily if something goes awry.
Good catch, Mike. I see exactly what your concern is.
What happened in February to, that's abnormally high.
Yeah, there's a couple of months there that, or several months, but I mean that's to be expected. It's just that if it's going to happen, we need to foresee it. We can't write that check that overspends us because that's a violation that we didn't get our hands slapped, but it was discussed with our auditors, and I think it was our auditors, wasn't it?
I think it was.
And then
You're
Dina
right.
had to call the state to get clarification, and indeed, we don't spend and then transfer.
No, that has to be done
So
ahead of time.
February was a big insurance hit of
I see
52,000.
Yeah, that was our liability insurance. It's a yearly,
Okay, so that's the hit in February, okay.
That's all I had.
Thanks for pointing that out, Mike. That's
Good
excellent.
point. Anything else, Kelly?
no, that's it.
Okay, so we'll approve the financials by consent. Next, we move on to old business resolution of 4-25-18A, adopting a supplemental budget and appropriating funds. Manager Huntington will give us a presentation.
So that is for the check that came in for the security grant for the cameras. And so we're gonna adopt a supplemental budget to appropriate those funds. So I need somebody to make a motion to,
And the resolution will have to be signed, so they just have to approve it,
Yeah.
and then we'll have it signed.
I would move we approve.
I'd second that.
Moved and approved, all in favor?
I have a question
Okay.
first. Does this need to be corrected first? No, that's not the same one.
no, this is number 7, Nancy.
Number,
Excuse me, go to number 8 in your folder.
oh, okay.
I'll give you a chance to read through it. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
Now, the next resolution under new business is, it's our SDAO, where we get the 10% credit, off of our insurance. And so it would be the
Best practices.
best practices maintenance policy that we're putting in place now, and it's all part of the 10%. It's gotta be done, the deadline is by November 1st, so we just need somebody to make a motion for this.
Explain that to me. You say 10% of,
We're getting that credit on our insurance, which is 10%. This is just one portion of what we're supposed to do for that 10%.
We adopt certain practices.
Yes, and so this is the policy that we're adopting, so we can continue to get that credit.
So these are practices that we're agreeing to.
And
Okay.
And this becomes a part of the Port of Siuslaw's policy. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
This is new, or, I'm sorry.
yeah, which paper?
It's number 8 on new business.
District building preventative,
It's a preventative maintenance plan.
Okay.
That's the policy.
okay.
Is this new, David?
No, it's not new. This is all part of that policy.
But we haven't had this policy before.
No, it's.
That's one of the requirements they want us to do now to
By
participate.
November 1st.
Okay.
So.
Well, I move that we approve resolution 4-25-18B.
Second?
been moved and seconded to, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously.
And so the next item would be appoint a budget committee member.
No, you forgot the surplus property.
Oh, okay, all right. Number 9 would be declares public surplus. And there's a list of 7 items that we're gonna try and get rid of, the boom logs included. And so I just need somebody to make a motion for the approval of resolution 4-25-18C.
Would you explain what these items are? I mean, I know what some of them are.
It's stuff that we've tried to sell before, and we've basically put it on only the state public surplus site, and I think now we're gonna try and locally advertise it also, so more people might be able to see this stuff. And there's a motor, a safe, 2 paper towel dispensers that we have, the boom logs, the parking lot light fixtures. When we upgraded to LED, we still have all those lights out there. We're gonna try and get rid of those. There were some old solar panels that came out of the cleaning station. We're gonna try and get rid of those. And then our old work truck, we're gonna try and get rid of that too.
So you'll list this on public surplus, but you'll
Yep.
also advertise that it is available
Yeah,
on public
locally.
surplus to the local people.
Yep.
And Dave, in terms of the mechanism, how it actually works. For example, let's say I was interested in maybe a couple of parking lot lights.
Mm-hmm.
I come in and give you an offer, or do you have to accept bids, or how does that work?
I think it's all by bid.
Okay,
And we were gonna talk about that, whether we're gonna do like the boom logs, lump sum, but individually, and same thing by the lights, you know.
okay. So the advertisement will go out and it'll list these items, and it'll say submit your bid by, and then the bids are open at a certain time, or is,
Well, I remember last time we did something like that, it was a closed bid where they could actually bring bids into the office and they were locked in the safe, right?
yeah, and one person doesn't see what the other
Yeah.
person's bidding, right?
Yeah, no, nobody ever sees that.
Okay, and then there is a time when it's.
It's
when
my
you-
understanding, Dave, that we listed this on public surplus auctions,
Mm-hmm,
which is a government auction house.
yeah,
And you have to be registered with public surplus to bid on it. And it's a timed auction,
yeah.
7 days, what do you list the time that
Well,
you want it to?
have we put that on public surplus yet?
Some of these have been on
Okay.
public surplus.
Okay,
I don't recall receiving bids in the office though for any of those items. I think it was just
Okay.
the public surplus.
I have bid on several
Yeah,
items in the past
yeah.
from the port,
Yeah.
on public surplus.
You bid
Well, I-
online, Terry?
Yes, you bid on the internet.
I was involved too when we had it, where we actually brought paper into the office, and it was put into the safe until,
Maybe that was for a vessel or something?
no, I think it
Well-
was when we were getting rid of stuff out of
Well, we just
storage
follow the
out there.
rules, whatever they are.
You know, I think we can decide how we want to do it.
I think so too, if we're gonna open it up to the public a little bit more around here.
I honestly think, my personal opinion is I like that approach better, because I think you'll get a better response.
Yeah,
Put it on Craigslist locally and whatever else.
yeah.
All of the sites that merchandise.
Advertise it on the radio?
Cause I think once we declare it public surplus, we can get rid of it any way we want to,
Yeah.
more or less.
As long as it's equal opportunity.
Nancy, not to disparage the radio or even the newspaper, but people that are hunting for stuff anymore are actively searching the shopping sites on the internet.
Online?
Oh, yes, and in
Okay.
Craigslist and there's a local Florence network on Facebook for things, and it costs us nothing, but there's a lot of eyes that get on
that's-
those sites.
Yep, that's where it
I
ought
see
to
some
be.
shaking heads. You agree at that? Yeah, it's the way, I know people put kayaks up and they'll offer them at a reasonable boy, the phone goes off the
Okay.
hook.
But you're trying to sell lights that you don't even want. Who wants them?
They're
Well,
pretty nice lights,
Why did you take them out?
because it saved us on power.
That's, I mean,
You
why
got
would
a
someone
grant?
buy them, Dave?
Well, and you
I
say,
don't know
well,
if
we
you got
don't
50
want,
of them or 3 of them.
but I might want it, cause I'm
There's
putting in
13 of them.
a facility that the city's making me illuminate, which I want to, and that's got a parking lot, it's brand new
Yeah, but you
construction.
should, you're on the commission, you shouldn't be able to bid on anything.
Sure I should.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute,
Hey, let's talk about that, because that's a point
Yeah.
that we're opening this up to the public. When we step down off of this, as long as we aren't deciding who
wins.
Who wins.
So you're saying high bid, as long as you qualify, government-wise. I mean, I've been in government for a lot of years.
Sure.
You know, and things don't just,
yeah, but you
we
said specific.
send things to, when I was working for the state at Honeyman, we sent pallets of stuff to the state,
All the public surplus.
to the public surplus, because there is no easy way to get rid of that stuff around here.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta make sure the law is on your side, and what's it cost? Who's gonna put the ad on the paper? Who's gonna do all that stuff that you're short of staff now?
I tend to agree with you, Jeff, that it would be, I do an awful lot of public surplus. But how many other people, even in this room, are signed up to bid on public surplus? I mean, it's a fair representation here.
Yeah,
We've got different, I'm saying, Megan,
I'd toss out that if the port ran an ad that said, I've got a truck and boom locks and blah, 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 lights and so forth, for sale, see this website. If I was interested in one of those things, I'd register.
Yeah.
that's what, yeah, but there was an important point that you made. You said that as a commissioner, I should not be allowed to bid on it. And I just.
You don't agree with me, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, I'm telling you, yeah, and and if I do, I'm gonna be accused of, and I flat disagree. Once we leave this meeting here, I'm just another citizen. And as long as I participate,
Until you talk the port. Once you say the port, you're no longer a private
well, I'm not
citizen.
gonna bid as a port.
I know, but if you're talking to somebody and you start talking about the port, you're talking as a commissioner. You're not talking as a
Oh,
private
yeah,
citizen.
well, no, yeah, but let's not change subject. We're talking about bidding on this item. And it's really important to me, because essentially you're saying that if I bid on it, I'm creating some sort of a irregular.
Illusion,
Yeah.
collusion.
Yeah, but, and the point I'm trying to make is, once I leave this door, and as long as I participate at the same level that everybody else participates, I gain no advantage by being on the port, and I gain no disadvantage by being on the port. I'm telling you that you're incorrect when you say I should not be
So
able to
if
bid
you're
on
the
it.
only bid, you can get it, even if it's $1.
Oh,
well,
absolutely.
no, we haven't said if there's gonna be a minimum yet or not.
Okay.
And I would strongly suggest, Dave, that we have a minimum on several of these items.
Okay.
And I'm not saying it has to be big dollar, but it'll never be public. We don't publicize the minimum bid.
So are you saying to go ahead with the public surplus auction site and
I think
just
it's-
advertise it through?
It's my personal
Local.
opinion, yes, that this
Okay.
stuff is available. I know when I bought a dock hoist out here, the manager called me up and said, hey, you need to go to public surplus, this is for sale. And
Okay.
he advised me, and that's how I found out, so I wouldn't have found out. But I think if we were to advertise and say, hey, this stuff is available on publicsurplus.com, wherever the address is, to notify the local people,
Okay.
And everybody has the same chance.
then everybody has the same chance, and it's not just a one bid, it's,
Right.
you know, you can bid against each other, not knowing who the other people you're bidding against.
Yeah, I want to correct my position. You do have a point back there under this. If the port itself does not widely advertise these as being available, so that my inside information of them being available, that would be incorrect. That would be using my position improperly. So we need to make sure that it's advertised widely, otherwise it is not fair.
And to advertise widely, you have to do the paper, right? And, I mean, putting on Craigslist isn't a public advertisement.
No, all we have to do is
I don't
put them
take
on
the
public.
paper, how would I know what's in the paper? And a lot of people don't either.
A
If
lot
we
of
look at-
people don't
you know, if we
look at Craigslist.
That's right, they
Yeah.
don't. So you're.
I don't think the law
Darn if you do, darn if you
stipulates.
Well,
don't.
the law stipulates what you have to do. I mean,
And that's what we're gonna do, is
Right,
follow
That's what
whatever
we're
the
gonna do.
regulations
We'll
are,
make sure.
period.
Yes.
That's good.
Enough said.
So somebody needs to make a motion.
I move that we pass the resolution 4-25-18C to declare surplus property.
Second that.
Moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. With direction to the manager just to research it and
Okay.
cover the bases.
So basically, we're gonna put it all at public surplus and then advertise it locally in a few other places.
And I can't wait for the paper towel dispenser.
And, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We
Don't
put
be
it all-
buying new light bulbs for them lights either.
We could put it all in the back of the Chevy truck and auction it for the highest price and probably not get our money.
Well, I want to see if those light fixtures will accept
Work.
the LED.
Let's see if they work.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Okay, now the next thing on the agenda is to appoint budget committee members. We only have one applicant, so,
We just need a motion to appoint this gentleman.
motion to, and I think he's right here. This is
Okay.
Keith Stanton.
I move,
No, you go ahead.
okay, I move that we appoint Keith Stanton to join us on the budget committee.
I'd second, go ahead.
Mike, go ahead, Mike.
I'd second that motion.
Moved and seconded, all those in
Point of
favor?
discussion.
Yes,
We need to take his temperature and make sure that he's of sound mind. Okay, that was my only
That might
comment.
have me disqualified.
He's brave, I'm impressed.
Thank you for, okay, that,
It's moved and seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Stanton. We look forward to having you join us at the table.
yes, very much so.
Now we need to schedule a meeting,
Budget meeting?
budget meeting. And me and Kelly got together, we were thinking possibly either May 7th or 8th. That would be a Monday and a Tuesday, I believe, or the 10th and the 11th of May, which would be Thursday and Friday.
Let me look at my calendar.
The 7th and 8th of what?
May.
7th or 8th.
You're talking 2 meetings, say at 4 PM?
Wait,
It's just a budget committee meeting, the very first one.
where's the budget at? What phase is it in today?
It's
We're
pretty much
pretty
done. I'm
close.
ready to just present it to the committee and they say yay, nay, whatever.
And ask questions and,
Ask
What are
questions
the
and
dates
change
again?
things.
7th, 8th, 10th,
Yes,
11th?
7th and 8th, or 10th or 11th.
What's the 7th?
That's
Monday.
a Monday, the 8th would be.
that's Monday, Tuesday, or Thursday, Friday.
I can't do any day but Monday. I'm sorry.
I can do
That's the-
Monday.
That's the week of, I have to be at other budget meetings that night, or that week, that for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
And Monday's free?
Yeah, I can do Monday and
I can do
Friday, but
Monday.
I don't wanna do Friday, no one does. but-
No.
I can do Monday, fine.
I can do the 7th, that's the
So the
Monday.
7th.
I think Nancy's already,
Yeah.
I think 7th would be fine.
What time?
Earlier than
6 or
that.
7, when do we normally do them, guys? I'm the newbie, I don't know.
Oh, well, you,
Let's ask our newest member, what do you feel?
I'm available all those times.
how about 6?
I think so.
Well, how hard is it gonna be for you to get in?
6 is better for me than 4.
Yeah, well, I'd rather do it at 6.
I would
6
too.
is okay.
6 is fine.
Okay.
Okay, so the 7th of May at 6 p.m.
Perfect.
Sounds good.
Do we have any other vacancies on this meeting?
So we gotta get that
Yeah, there's
advert,
still
how are
one.
we advertising that? Via paper?
Yes,
So we gotta advertise it twice.
Jeff,
Right,
if I
5
volunteer.
days.
not for this first meeting, we'll
Really?
have to,
Okay.
right,
Read those regs tomorrow, real close, okay?
okay.
Okay, it's different than just advertising for a regular meeting?
Yeah.
Okay,
You got a time period, 5 days before, not,
On-
not
on a-
closer
on a
than
budget
5, not
hearing.
more than 30.
okay, interesting. Good.
Because you would not want the meeting
No, they
too
just,
far before the,
they just, what, you know, they want everybody to have plenty of time. That's what it's about. You know, when we
Okay.
talk about notifying people, they just want everybody to have plenty of time so that they know we're having that meeting.
good. So be it the 7th at 6 PM.
Okay.
Next, we're down to the manager and commissioner reports. Shall we start with the manager?
Okay, so, we haven't got rid of very much of our dredge material yet.
Any?
I think 3 or 4 yards is all so far.
How is that getting loaded, David?
We have actually been loading it
Okay,
little by little with our.
with a little Kubota?
With our little tractor, because nobody's, if somebody's gonna come in for big amounts, they're gonna bring their own
Okay.
equipment, but everybody's just been coming in for maybe a yard.
Okay,
And, so I got the sign coming. We're gonna end up doing that ourselves. I got somebody else that's actually doing the sign for a little bit cheaper, and it's good material, it's a good sign. Our plan is to use, ballards, which are old pilings that we've had out there, and we're gonna put 3 of them on each side at different lengths, and we're gonna, angle them, wrap them with rope, and we'll make it look real nautical. And
excellent.
staff's gonna end up doing that, and it's, the sign's gonna end up costing us $900, so it's a little bit cheaper.
Were we able to use the other artwork, or did
Yeah,
they have to create new artwork?
It's gonna be the same,
Okay,
the same as what we've all seen,
Okay.
that same sign.
okay,
We completed the maintenance shed out here by the restrooms. We're getting ready to put the boom logs in, getting them off land and putting them in and storing them, so we got them out of the way of our overflow parking back there. Zero's still moving forward. We're just waiting on permits to be approved. Who knows how long that's gonna take, but we've got the blue buildings cleaned off, and I'm pretty sure most of the gangways and docks are cleaned at this time. Me and Bill went to the PCC conference down in Coos Bay. We made a lot of good contacts down there, and one thing that we're planning on doing is going up and touring the Toledo facility to check that out. I mean, we made a great contact with Bud up there in Toledo, and I know we plan on picking his brain a little bit. He's got,
especially on funding and
Oh, yeah.
grants and cooperative, yeah.
we kind of didn't know what to expect. None of us have gone to that PCC conference before, and I think we'll be a little bit better prepared next year, but it was great to meet all the people, and it was a great opportunity to network with a lot too, so. And that's basically all I've got.
Threw me into the deep water without any pictures, and I had to paint a verbal picture, but we did fine.
Explain that.
Okay, well, when, they have the call of the ports, and apparently they sent out an email to all of the ports to send in some pictures and and captions of various things that you're doing at the port, your campground, so they did the call of the ports, and they said, now, if any of you didn't send in your picture and you are here, you're welcome to make a presentation and describe what's going on. And David had asked me to do that, and so I did my best. I started out with a Florence joke. Maybe I better not tell it. Yeah, I said, well, you know, Florence, that's the place where old folks go to visit their parents. And they got a big laugh out of and then I'll get in trouble for saying that. Then we described, I introduced Dave. I said, now I'm sure this is a unique individual here because he's both a port commissioner and he's our interim manager. And then I described that we're port in transition. We're not much fishing activity anymore, but we've got our port is really close coupled with a beautiful old town area, and we're going to try to take advantage of that. But next year we will have pictures. And we will have pictures, but we didn't have them this year because we were novice and new at the process. But it was an excellent function.
They had port from Alaska to, I think, San Francisco, California there.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of people to meet.
We got a ride on the tug, and I went up into the pilot house, and there were 3 computerized engine monitors that I had personally helped design and wrote the code for, and they'd been in service for 20 years without failure. So it was
That's cool.
that was very, very much fun to walk in there and see a product that you had my engineering team had designed, but I had a lot of in fact the operating system I had created years ago, and it was nice to see it in operation. That was made it really worthwhile.
I heard you got some information on the dredging.
The state dredge, yeah, they had pretty good presentation. And David, you jump in. They were talking about the learning curve that they're on, and also discussing how they're going to allocate the time of the dredge. But they were indicating that they thought it was going to be a success, but
And
they're still
the
struggling.
Port of Coos Bay is actually operating that dredge right now. So the state owns it, but the Port of Coos Bay is who they put in charge of operations on
Do they have the manpower to staff it?
it. Apparently they do.
And the
Yeah.
training and the whole works then?
Yeah.
And it's home there then?
Yep, we got to see it and all the pipe and everything.
And it's scheduled for here when?
I'm not sure the exact date on that, Nancy. I believe it's to the end of the fall at sometime.
That would be really good, because if you've been checking the tides, our dock's on the sand again
Yeah.
at the low.
I've noticed that too.
Now, we got-
What's not good is there's gonna come a price tag with that.
Oh, I know.
So,
And we also have to have a place for the spoils, right?
Yep.
If we don't have a place, then we've got to pay to have it hauled off so that we have
Go in somebody's backyard.
well, yeah.
we have dredge spoil
I know
sites,
it.
But
and it will be in someone's backyard.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting it to there, whether we have to use pickup pumps to do that or how that's gonna work.
Do you think it's feasible to pump it that far upriver?
You know,
How many-
that may be our only option. And right now, they were saying that the cost to operate that dredge with mobilization and everything is about $12 a yard.
And how many yards do we have?
Um,
40?
Well, I think we're permitted for about 17 right now.
17,000 yards?
Yeah, but we can adjust that probably about 30%, I believe.
so we're looking at $200,000 in charges approximately for.
Yeah.
Well, that's better than the 400 that we were kind of looking at.
That's if they have a place to put it. Then I think on top of that, that's just for them to dredge it out.
Oh, so the
No,
placing is another,
Well, we don't have a
Yeah.
place to put it.
That's
Right.
if we could pump it to our site right here.
So, once we truck this material off, then we can pump it there at the $12 a yard.
and if we can't get the sand out of here, we're going to have to go upriver, won't we?
That's our only other option.
Megan, you have something?
Doesn't it make sense to actually pay someone to take the sand away here instead of
Well,
charging?
Yeah, I know, I mean, this was just a start for us
Yeah.
to do that.
We wanted to see if they're gonna beat a place to our door, but
And
The only
it
reason we're
doesn't look
charging-
like they're beating down the door.
The only reason we're charging is the state charges us 80 cents every yard we sell out of there. Every yard that leaves there, we have to pay the state 80 cents.
98 cents.
98 cents, excuse me, I stand corrected.
Yeah.
So that's why we charged $1 just to cover that cost.
Right.
And that's something we have to do, the taxpayers. We can't pay right now $1. At some point though, we're gonna have to declare that we're gonna have to pay to get it out of there.
Gotta get
now help me get up to speed. We have another site for spoils.
We have several options.
Now, are those sites available via truck? In other words, can we truck it from here in a 10-yarder and take it to the other site, dump it there to create our cavity that we need here
So
for?
that the new can go
So
here.
the new can go right here?
You know,
I can't speak, and
I'd have
Megan,
to-
you may know something about Nordall's site. I don't know if it's truck accessible or not.
That's on my list to research.
Okay.
Terry, you're in that business. How many miles up is this site that she's gonna research?
Mile.
Okay.
It's
so-
Nordall's.
Okay. To load it and truck it in a 10-yard dump, how many dollars a cubic yard would you expect it would, if we had to contract to have it moved?
$7 to $10 a yard.
Okay. Okay. So now we're back to our $400,000.
Yeah.
Well, I can't do the math. If there's 5,000 yards out there, 7, that's $35,000.
I thought there was like 30,000 cubic yards out here.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the capacity was of that. So, yeah, you're right. We're getting right back up there.
Surely there's records of how much was placed here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's somewhere
it-
around 30,000.
All right, well, we'll just wrestle it as we can.
Anything else, David?
No, not for me.
One thing you mentioned to me this week I thought was very interesting was painting the office.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was a good bit of news.
Well, that was something that we were working on for the next fiscal year budget is getting this office painted out here. And I think it's something that we can have our staff do.
In-house.
Yeah, it'll be done in-house.
Should be a substantial savings.
Yeah. Yeah, one other thing I forgot is the security gates that we had talked about recently. I'm starting to get some bids back on the security gates. I don't know yet if there's any grants out there, security grants like what we got for the cameras and stuff like that, if there's any money available to help out with a grant there with the gates. But I talked to a couple people at the PCC conference, and a lot of people's going to security for the gates for their marinas. And at some point it turns into a safety issue also when you got people down on the docks at night after dark and stuff like that. So I really think that it's something that we really should tackle at some point, get serious about it, because,
The security gates.
yeah, going on to all the docks. It's gonna
Are we
be,
going to put something in the upcoming budget for that?
yeah, that was the plan.
What about 24-hour security?
I haven't checked into a 24-hour security yet. I know by talking to Dina at one point, before she left, she said it was pretty expensive. I just figured we'd tackle one thing at a time. And-
Are there any local patrols around here, security patrols that, where you could say, hey, make a pass, they're making pass in other areas? We don't have,
Not that I'm aware of.
we don't have any private security patrols.
Not that I'm aware of. They would come out of Coos Bay, I think.
Okay, yeah, well, that would, yeah. So there's no way to share it with, on other sites, because you just want a good presence and, at a unpredictable rate, but there needs to show the flag enough that people are wary and not to.
Well, I know people have brought it to our attention, customers and stuff, that, you know, they want to make sure that their property is secure when it's down on the docks. And it does at night with people running around down on the docks. It's a safety issue at some point, and we really need to think about it.
Oh, we're fortunate our manager lives on the dock.
Yeah.
Real good. Commissioner reports. Nancy, we'll start with you.
Okay. March 26th, I went to a city council planning department. They are working on housing ordinances. And you've probably read in the paper about the tiny house that can be put on a property so that, they used to call them mother-in-law cottages. The 28th was a watershed meeting, and this was more on dunes restoration by the U.S. Forest Service person from Corvallis. April 2nd was another city council, and this was a report on economic development and honoring child abuse prevention with the blue spin wheels that you're seeing around town. April 11th was Lane Act meeting, and April 20th was the Friday after you guys' thing, and it was the Oregon delegation who Peter DeFazio and I didn't write their names down. Two other representatives, one from Louisiana and one from California, who came and listened to port people on the coast telling about the things that they needed, and this was mostly testimony for transportation and infrastructure, and they had lots of input on failing jetties up the entire coast because of the winter winds and waves that hit our coast. I didn't realize that this is ours, not the rest of the ports around the United States. And then the 24th was a watershed meeting. That was last night, and it was on seafood and the seafood availability for selling or for home cooking, you know, what kinds, because this woman talked about more and more farmed fish. Well, that's a turn off for me, and trying to explain how some of it's raised and where it's not as bad as we were thinking, but still doesn't fit for me. And just one note, Kristen Mira, PNWA Executive Director, she was one of the people testifying on that Friday. And she's a person that Dina and I talked to almost about a month before Dina left. So they are really, really trying to help us. Kathy McEwen has called and is interested in doing whatever she can for this port. And Peter DeFazio has been, working really hard to get money for our ports and thinking of us too. So I think if we get a hold of them and let them know what our major problems are, like this dredging where we've got a dock sitting out there on the sand at low tide, and this was just the beginning for this year, and it's already there. It doesn't hurt to ask, so I think this is what we need to do, is figure out what exactly our need is, and let them know, because these people keep telling me, let us know. And so I think we really need to do that. And then today was a fun thing with at the event center, showing what's happening with the changing for 101, the whole process of the new highway, the new look on from 126 to the bridge, upgrading and making it beautiful.
Did they talk about the roundabouts?
No.
But it almost came up. Somebody, because there were a number
Yeah,
of people.
they ask about it, but the
Yeah.
city kind of wanted to not talk about it yet.
Understandably so.
Well, personally, I don't mind a roundabout
I like 'em.
because it's better than a four-way stop. That on 9th would be awful.
You gonna
And
do anything, put in stop
yeah,
signs?
that's it.
Mike?
No, I don't have anything.
Well, I think Dave and I went to the conference in Coos Bay. I think I've already made comments, but I just want to reiterate, we made some excellent contacts, and we're going to follow up with quiet, long-term discussions, especially how Toledo and these others partnered with other groups, whether it's the Oregon Lottery Fund, and in some cases, when I was discussing with the manager of Salmon Harbor, how they partnered with the Douglas County Commissioners to actually upgrade their park, and the money they spent and the return that they got on their investment. And one of the things that I want to do is to go down there and actually get the details of what they expended and what difference it made in their bottom line, and the way and essentially what return on investment they received. But it was an excellent opportunity to see who was being successful, and then getting a chance to sit down with them and see if you can use some of their successful connections and approaches, because obviously we need to do some capital improvements in this campground, where you're increasing your sewage capacity and your power capacity, and maybe removal of our storage buildings and replacing with we need to do it right, and we need to get past the wet puddles in the winter and all of the other things that end up making us not look as upscale as I think we need to be. But anyway,
It's my opinion, we have our 5-year plan coming up, and
Yeah.
anything we can implement into that, we would be subject to receiving state monies, OEM monies.
yeah.
Am I
So we
right,
need to
Mike?
get the plan together. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a possibility of that, sure.
You know, we could even put renovation of new buildings or something in a 5-year plan. Or demolition of new buildings, however we decide,
Yeah.
and the dredging. So,
Yep, we just need to keep asking and keep it working,
Yeah.
and go out and not try to do it just by ourselves.
well, I will say that Dave's got the staff, the new buildings are looking nice. I know I'm about the only supporter here of them, but,
No, I support him too.
okay.
I don't wanna spend a lot of money on them, because I think they're very old.
I think we need to look at the whole picture, which we will on a.
We don't have to worry about spending a lot of money because we don't have it.
We don't have any, that's for
Yeah,
sure.
that's the point.
That being said, the manager, Kelly, do you have anything you want to add before we go to public comment? Okay, any public comments? Keith? Megan?
Megan?
Jeff?
And I,
Hi, John. With that being said, I'm going to adjourn us to executive session for ORS 12.660, parentheses 2, parentheses E, to conduct deliberations with persons designated to negotiate real property transactions and return to open session if action is to be taken. Thank you.